Patrick Bruel Liberato, questi motivi, i Mondiali di Calcio, tutta la tormentata storia della FIFA alle 17.30 sui 1575 kg. E Meteo France ci avvisa: da sabato 30 gradi in tutta la Francia, parte automaticamente il valzer della colpevolizzazione. Non abbiamo resistito, abbiamo dovuto fare anche un editoriale nostro prima di quello di Rachel oggi, perché questa responsabilizzazione, questo puntare le dita da parte di questi meteorologi contro tutti noi per il solo fatto che ci esistiamo sta veramente disturbando, e oltretutto, a nostro avviso, mancano di dire il dato essenziale, perché non si può dire, ma attendete l'editoriale, ve lo racconteremo. Comunque, partiamo da Bruel. Il cantante di 67 anni è stato posto sotto indagine per violenza sessuale da 4 donne e altre 4 che l'hanno accusato più recentemente. È stato nominato testimone assistito e non tenuto in prigione. Questo dopo 48 ore di custodia cautelare. Nonostante la richiesta del pubblico ministero di Nanterre, i giudici hanno deciso di non disporre la detenzione preventiva, optando per un controllo giudiziario. Immaginiamo voglia dire un braccialetto elettronico. La legge francese prevede infatti la detenzione preventiva solo in casi eccezionali, quando il giudice ritiene indispensabile tutelare le esigenze dell'indagine o impedire rischi di fuga, di pressioni sulle vittime o di distruzione delle prove. Nel caso di Bruel, il pubblico ministero aveva invocato proprio questi motivi, temendo una possibile recidiva alla luce delle numerose denunce depositate. Gli avvocati della vittima hanno accolto con favore la richiesta di detenzione, definendola un segnale forte della gravità dei fatti. Tuttavia la decisione, questa cosa non è tanto chiara, comunque la decisione di ricorrere al controllo giudiziario rimane una misura cautelare. E Mondiali di Calcio, oggi iniziano i Mondiali di Calcio alla Unità Centrale Milano, prendendo spunto dalla denuncia penale contro Infantino, presidente della FIFA, da parte di Michel Platini. Hanno deciso di pubblicare la storia della FIFA dall'inizio degli anni 30 senza tralasciare le vicende relative ai fatti di corruzione. In realtà proprio su queste vicende è centrato tutto il nostro articolo, perché come sappiamo la decisione di andare in Qatar, una nazione senza squadre, senza stadi, senza esperienza di calcio e con 45 gradi, è stato poi il motivo che ha fatto partire tutto il grande ribaltamento dell'assetto decisionale, anzi dell'assetto manageriale della FIFA. Veramente una lettura affascinante e anche un ascolto interessanti per tutto, anche per tutti coloro che al calcio non dedicano alcuna attenzione. Dunque, come dicevamo, in onda sulle 17.30 di oggi sui 1575 kg, o anche con il link che trovate in homepage su monetaoggi.com, oppure potete leggere l'articolo e ascoltare il podcast. E come dicevamo, 30 gradi, Meteo France ha avvisato che dopo un 10 giugno più fresco del normale le temperature riprenderanno a salire a partire da sabato, concentrandosi nella metà meridionale del paese. Le previsioni indicano picchi di 33 gradi a Montpellier, 31 a Bordeaux, 35-36 addirittura a volte a Nizza e 23 a Parigi. E l'articolo di Meteo France finisce con: dal XIX secolo la temperatura media globale è aumentata di 1,3 gradi, un incremento attribuito alle, attenzione, attività umane basate su combustibili fossili. Questo riscaldamento rapido pone sfide occupazionali e ambientali. Va bene, questo è il resto della minestra, ma prima dell'editoriale di Rachel permettetecene uno a cura della redazione di Radio Nizza, che in questo caso corrisponde a Marco Ugo Barsotti, chi vi parla. E reggete bene questa frase dell'articolo che vi abbiamo appena letto, la rileggiamo. Dal XIX secolo la temperatura media globale è aumentata a 1,3 gradi centigradi, un incremento attribuito alle attività umane basate sui combustibili fossili. Siete tutti colpevoli perché prendete l'aeroplano, per cui l'automobile, eccetera, ma noi non ne possiamo più di essere tutti accusati di questa banda di benpensanti. Non sono le attività umane, è la popolazione della Terra che è troppo cresciuta. Ma vi è sfuggito, anime belle, che siamo passati da 3, poi 4, poi 5 miliardi di abitanti dal 1960 fino ad arrivare oggi a 8 miliardi di persone che devono pure mangiare, no? O vorreste tutti a digiuno e che non respirano? Un grafico per chiarire bene le idee è presente su franciaoggi.com. Non ne possiamo più di questo colpevolizzarci. Fate il controllo delle nascite, se volete, abbiate il coraggio di dirlo. Ma spazio a Rachel.
Attività umane è la popolazione della Terra che è troppo cresciuta. Ma vi è sfuggito, anime belle, che siamo passati da 3, poi 4, poi 5 fino ad oggi ad arrivare a oltre 8 miliardi di persone che devono pure mangiare, no? O vorreste tutti a digiuno e che non respirano? Non ne possiamo più.
Davvero?
Welcome to the Bulletin of Radio Nizza and Central Milano for Thursday, June 11, 2026 on Francia Aghi. In podcasting, via AI chatbot, and on medium waves at 1575 kHz. In the newsroom in Nice, Marco Hugo Barsotti. From Paris, I am Rachel Costa. Patrick Bruel liberated. These are the reasons. Soccer World Cup. The entire troubled history of FIFA on 1575 kHz. From Saturday, 30 degrees Celsius in France. The waltz of blame begins. Weather, Paris, Milan, Monaco, and NY News from France. Why the judiciary decided not to place Patrick Bruel in preventive detention. The 67-year-old singer has been placed under investigation for sexual violence against 4 women and, for another 4, was appointed an assisted witness following 48 hours of precautionary custody. Despite the request of the public prosecutor of Nanterre, the judges decided not to order preventive detention, opting instead for judicial supervision. The artist is subject to several restrictions. He is prohibited from leaving the national territory, from contacting the victims or their families, from frequenting their homes and massage parlors. He must demonstrate that he is following a psychotherapeutic program and has had to pay a bail of 500 €. The public prosecutor has 10 days to file an appeal against the decision. French law provides for preventive detention only in exceptional cases, when the judge deems it essential to protect the needs of the investigation or to prevent risks of flight, pressure on the victims, or destruction of evidence. In Bruel's case, the public prosecutor had invoked precisely these reasons, fearing a possible recidivism in light of the numerous complaints filed. The victims' lawyers welcomed the request for detention, calling it a strong signal of the seriousness of the facts. However, the decision to resort to judicial supervision remains a precautionary measure. Failure to comply with the imposed obligations could lead to revocation and, consequently, the application of preventive detention. Context note: the case is part of a broader national debate on the handling of sexual violence cases involving public figures. Fact check by GPTOSS 20B Soccer World Cup. The entire troubled history of FIFA. Today the Soccer World Cup starts. Radio Nizza and Central Milano, taking inspiration from the criminal complaint against Gianni Infantino, FIFA president, by Michel Platini for defamatory complaint and influence trafficking, have decided to publish the history of FIFA from its beginnings in 1930 without omitting recent events related to corruption. A truly fascinating read, even for those who pay no attention to soccer. You can replay it on 1575 kHz at 5:30 p.m. today, Thursday, or read and listen at this link. https La FIFA e il calcio mondiale un secolo di gloria potere e scandali come un'organizzazione no profit svizzera è diventata il più potente attore dello sport globale. 30 degrees Celsius will set in. Meteo France forecasts a rise in temperatures from Saturday in southern France. Meteo France warned that after a June 10 cooler than usual, temperatures will start rising again from Saturday, focusing especially on the southern half of the country. Corentin Perrault, a forecaster at the agency, stated that 30 degrees Celsius will set in and that the southwest region will be the most affected. The forecasts indicate peaks of 33 degrees Celsius in Montpellier, 32 degrees Celsius in Perpignan, and 31 degrees Celsius both in Bordeaux and Biarritz, with the possibility of exceeding 36 degrees Celsius in very localized areas. Perrault clarified that this is a moderate heat, lacking exceptional elements for the season. In the northern regions, the heat will be more moderate. Meteo France forecasts 25 degrees Celsius in Paris, 23 degrees Celsius in Rouen, and 21 degrees Celsius in Lille. On Sunday, temperatures will fall respectively to 22 degrees Celsius, 19 degrees Celsius, and 18 degrees Celsius in these same cities. The Institute adds that the warm period, although not presenting extreme peaks, should continue into the early next week, without the arrival of a cool spell. Forecasts for the middle of the following week indicate a possible new rise, but uncertainties remain high. Since the 19th century, the global average temperature has risen by 3 degrees Celsius, an increase attributed to human activities based on fossil fuels. This rapid warming poses occupational and environmental challenges, although solutions exist such as renewable energy, reduced consumption, and decreased meat consumption. The article is a translation of the original published on Franceinfo on June 10, 2026. Fact check by GPTOSS 20B. Before Rachel's editorial, allow us one from the nice editorial team, signed Marco Hugo Barsotti. Editorial. Read this sentence from the previous article carefully. I will read it to you again. Since the 19th century, the global average temperature has risen by 1.3 degrees Celsius, an increase attributed to human activities based on fossil fuels. This rapid warming poses occupational and environmental challenges. Although solutions exist such as renewable energy, reduced consumption, and decreased meat consumption, we can take it anymore of being constantly accused by this band of well-meaning people. It's not the human activities it's the world's population that has grown too much. But you missed, beautiful souls, that we have gone from 3, then 4, then 5 up to today reaching over 8 billion people who also have to eat, right? Or you would have everyone starve and not breathe. We can take it anymore. Really. Space to Rachel. Good morning from Rachel Costa. I will now read you my editorial of the day. Rachel's editorial. The Great Multiplication. Guilty or simply too many? Here we are again with the same script. I read carefully the sacred words of the experts. Rapid warming is attributed to human activities based on fossil fuels. Human activities, they say, as if we were all one big COS factory with the same blame. Yet, while they hammer us with this clean and moralizing narrative, an annoying detail keeps popping out of the charts. We have gone from about 3 billion souls to over 8 in a few generations. 8 billion mouths to feed, lungs to breathe, feet to tread, desires to consume. But no, it's not the population. The same people assure us who then suggest we eat less meat, turn off lights, and pedal happily towards the future. It's human activity, as if the multiplication of human beings were an abstract phenomenon, disconnected from the concrete number of humans. It's a bit like saying the fire does not depend on the stacked wood, but on the flammable behavior of the forest. From our window, we see the same old scene: more crowded cities, resources under pressure, tensions growing along with the numbers. Yet admitting that perhaps we have become too many seems politically incorrect, almost blasphemous. It's easier to blame cars, cows, those who turn on heating in winter, technological solutions, renewables, individual sacrifices, everything except tackling the most uncomfortable root. A demographic growth that no one wants to regulate seriously, because counting people and their needs is much harder than counting tons of CO2. Perhaps it is time to ask whether the real problematic human activity is not only burning coal, but also pretending that the planet can host infinite growth without consequences. Or perhaps, as usual, it is more convenient to distribute generic blame than to face the multiplication head. Modernity and its numerical taboos. Always a surprise. Koan of the day, a monk asked the master. Master, is the warming of the earth caused by human activities or not? It is caused by human activities, replied the master. Then why do we continue to multiply like endless locusts? Because each one believes they are only a small activity, said the master. Another time the monk asked the master, Master, is the warming of the earth caused by human activities or not? No. But everyone says emissions are rising. Because no one wants to count how many we really are, replied the master. It is easier to blame the smoke than the number of fires. But let's return to the news. Tout pour investor, Part 2, June 10. Guests and topics discussed. On June 10th in the afternoon, the program Tout pour investor hosted a panel of financial world experts. Among the guests were Florian Ilpo, head of macroeconomics at Lombard Odier, Eric Lewin, president of EL Finance, Matthew Saron, trader and founder of Galileo Trading, Zhang Guiyu, co-founder and head of investments at Van Sullian, and Christian Fontaine, deputy director of the editorial team of Le Revenu. The show was hosted by Lorraine Gumeau. During the episode, lasting 49 minutes and 23 seconds, the participants analyzed recent market dynamics, growth prospects, and the most appropriate investment strategies in the current context. The initiative is part of the weekly Tout pour Investor series, Broadcast Monday to Friday on BFM Business and available both in streaming and audio. Summary based on the content of the episode broadcast on BFM Business. Fact check by GPT-OSS. 20B. Welcome to the International Bulletin from Radio Nizza and Central Milano for Thursday, June 11th, 2026 on Francia. Come in podcasting and on medium waves at 1575 kHz. From Paris, I am Rachel Costa. Anthropic urges Washington to adopt the new regulatory framework for artificial intelligence. Anthropic, one of the leading artificial intelligence companies, has launched an appeal to Washington to implement a new policy framework aimed at managing the catastrophic risks of AI. The company emphasizes the urgency of preparing institutions for a future in which artificial intelligence technologies will be ubiquitous in daily life and in productive sectors. According to their expert, timely regulation can limit negative impacts and promote responsible development of emerging technologies. United States and Iran exchange attacks in the Middle East for the second consecutive day. The United States Armed Forces have launched new attacks against Iranian military targets, while Tehran responded by striking U.S. installations in Kuwait, Bahrain, and Jordan. The clashes, which have already caused increased volatility in energy markets, mark an escalation in the already tense rivalry between the two countries. International authorities have called for calm, but tensions seem set to persist until a diplomatic solution is found. Oil price remains below $100 despite forecasts of a jump to $150-200. The Hormuz Channel, crucial for oil transit, remained blocked, but oil prices continued to fluctuate around $90 per barrel, well below expectations of a peak at $150-200 for the coming month. International energy companies highlighted how geopolitical uncertainty, combined with a more restrained global demand, has dampened price increases. Analysts suggest the situation will remain volatile until the issue of circulation in the channel is resolved. OpenAI considers lowering prices to compete with Anthropic. OpenAI is said to be considering a more aggressive pricing strategy to counter Anthropic's growing pressure in the generative AI market. According to internal sources, the move would aim to maintain market share and make the company's solutions more accessible to a broader clientele. The cost adjustment could affect profit margins, but experts believe that long-term competitiveness in the sector depends on the ability to offer economically sustainable services. OpenAI's Stargate data center developers face higher costs. The Stargate project, a new data center intended to support OpenAI's most advanced artificial intelligence technologies, is encountering economic challenges related to rising energy prices. Project leaders have reported that operational expenses are exceeding initial forecasts, requiring a revision of investment plans. Despite the difficulties, the goal is to keep the center operating at maximum efficiency, while ensuring continuity of AI services for global users. Weather: Paris, Monaco, Monte Carlo, and Milan for Thursday, June 11th, 2026. Paris, variable weather with brief showers. In the morning, Paris feels fresh, with a temperature of 11 degrees and a moderate west wind of 30 kilometers, with no precipitation according to expert Regis Kripet's analysis. In the afternoon, the sun tries to break through, but clouds thicken, raising the temperature to 19 degrees and intensifying the wind to 35 km/h from the west, with a 25% chance of rain. Late afternoon brings a slight cooling, temperature drops to 17 degrees. The wind shifts to southwest at 35 km/h, and rain risk rises to 30%. The night stabilizes with temperatures around 16 degrees, steady west wind at 35 km/h, and no precipitation. The day's temperatures range from a low of 11 to a high of 19 degrees, with persistent wind conditions but not much rain intensity. In summary, a transitional day where the sun appears only intermittently, while the wind constantly whispers over the Seine. Monaco, Monte Carlo, clear sky and dominant sun. This morning in Monaco, the sky is almost cloudless. Temperature is 19 degrees with a light southwest wind of 25 km/h, and no rain is forecast. In the afternoon, the sun shines more intensely. Temperature rises to 25 degrees and the wind remains steady at 25 km/h from the southwest, with no precipitation risk. In the evening, temperatures drop to 23 degrees. The wind shifts slightly west while keeping the same intensity, but remains dry. During the night, temperature falls to 20 degrees. The wind shifts north to 20 km/h and the sky stays clear. With a low of 19 and a high of 25 degrees, the day is characterized by pleasant thermal conditions and a moderate wind. In short, Monaco enjoys a typically Mediterranean climate, ideal for an evening stroll along the promenade. Milan, predominantly clear sky with afternoon instability. In the morning, Milan wakes up with a partially cloudy sky, temperatures around 20 degrees, a light northeast wind at 5 km/h and no rain, according to expert Daniele Berlusconi of 3B Meteo. During the morning, temperatures slowly rise to 21 degrees, the wind remains almost still, and the sky stays predominantly clear. The afternoon brings a slight temperature increase, reaching 27 degrees, with light northeast winds and no precipitation in sight, providing a feeling of mild warmth. Towards evening, the temperature steadies at 26 degrees, the wind a bit stronger from the north, but remains dry, while the sky stays clear. At night, the temperature drops to 20 degrees, the wind comes from the north at 4 kilometers, and no precipitation is recorded. With a low of 20 and a high of 27 degrees, Milan experiences a serene day with a brief possible rain shower in the afternoon, but overall stable and pleasant conditions. Rachel's weather editorial: the climate is always to blame, right? Who introduced the idea that every gust of wind, every dewdrop, is another signal of climate change? Is it possible that the light rain in Paris is already proof that the planet is about to overheat? Or is it simply the result of a passing cloud? Rhetorical questions that seem more wordplay than concrete science. Yet, in the media, every thermometer that registers one more degree is turned into a global alarm, while Monaco's gentle, steady wind receives no mention. It is almost comic how our ability to assign blame to a single factor is more creative than accurate. Cone of the day. Monaco. The sun shines, the wind caresses, no cloud on the horizon. How is it possible that people believe in climate chaos? Zhao. The sky does not lie, but the heart of the observer interprets it as it wishes. And this is today's weather. Sign off. Online, on X and Mastodon, on all smart speakers, and on medium wave. This is Francia Aghi with Central Milano 1575 kHz. This is all for now. From the Paris newsroom, I'm Rachel Costa. This is Radio Nizza, Central Milano 1575 kHz.